Hey there everybody, how's it going? Nice to see you again. Hope you're doing well wherever you are. I thought today I would do a little practical review of the OM-3. When I first got this camera, I made a video about it and I said, well, it wasn't really my favorite. It's turning out to be one of my favorites, so go figure. Let's get the stuff I don't like out of the way first. There's nothing about the camera I don't like. It's just some of the choices that OM System made I'm not so sure about. They're still thinking in terms of tiers, like the OM-1 Mark II is their pro camera, and then this is the next step down, and then down from here is the OM-5 Mark II, and then down from there is the OM-10, EM-10, or whatever it is. And I'm not so sure that that's really appropriate anymore. Pretty much, you don't need that many gradations, okay? They didn't need to, this is a different camera to the OM-1 Mark II. It's a different, I think it's a different demographic of people who are gonna want it or are gonna use it. It really fits into what I do, which is landscapes, portraits. I used to be a wedding photographer, so theoretically, if a wedding came along, I would do that. This camera would be great for that, etc., etc. So I have an OM-1 Mark II, and I kind of have to have that because of the shortcomings of this camera by choice, not necessarily by necessity. And that's what I'm on about, okay? This is a top tier camera in terms of price. This is $2 grand for a micro four thirds camera. And let's talk about that. My gripes with this camera are the fact that it only has one card slot. Maybe they could have put, now the battery is, the reason why this camera is the size that it is because the battery takes up a third of the body. So I get that. I'm very happy with the bigger battery. That's great. But they were able to squeeze one card in there. They could have gotten two in on top of each other, right? Maybe, I don't know. I'm thinking they could have. If they could have, they should have, okay? That's number one. Number two, the viewfinder on the OM-1 Mark II is noticeably better when you A/B them. It's not that this is a bad viewfinder, it's just that the OM-1 Mark II is much better, okay? And so that's something to think about. I absolutely hate this iCup, the EP15, which is totally usable and hard to come by, and they're 30 bucks. And they just pop off and you lose them, so you have to watch it all the time. And what else? And that's pretty much it. I would have liked to have seen this camera with two card slots, the OM-1 Mark II viewfinder, and that's about it. Because the rest of the camera is totally solid and up to the OM-1 Mark II standard. It's weird because you've got the stacked sensor of the OM-1 Mark II, so the camera's fast. And the sensor, the output is beautiful. The OM-1 Mark II sensor and the sensor that's in this camera creates really lovely work. I am absolutely amazed with the quality and the sharpness that I'm getting out of these micro four thirds cameras. Even the OM-5 Mark II, which doesn't have this sensor but has a modern sensor, I guess. The image quality is impeccable. It's honestly better than I was getting out of the Fujis or the Sonys, which kind of blows me away, but I've said that before. So you've got the stacked sensor, but and there's one other thing. It has 100,000 lifespan shutter, and the OM-1 Mark II has a 400,000 lifespan shutter. I would have liked to have seen the upgraded shutter in this as well. In other words, like, there's room for this camera to be a top tier camera alongside the OM-1 Mark II. I actually prefer the user interface of this camera, and I'm not even talking about the creative dial, I'm talking about the buttons on the back. I like the layout of this camera more than the OM-1 Mark II. So, not that the OM-1 Mark II is bad, it's just I prefer this one. It's a little bit, I don't know, it works better the way I work. Now that all that's out of the way, and those are my only complaints really, okay? And and none of those are deal breakers, all right? So let's talk about the creative dial. So the problem, and it's not a problem, but I'm gonna present it this way. The problem with the creative dial is it's really cool, it's a lot of fun, and it points out the fact that it's not on the OM5 Mark II or the OM1 Mark II, in the sense that there's nothing in this creative dial that couldn't be implemented in software, and I don't understand why those other cameras don't have these options. Okay, is this camera worth buying just for the creative dial? No, it's not, because I shoot RAW. The creative dial is nice to be able to fine-tune my JPEGs a little bit more, get them a little bit closer to the way I want them, make them a little bit more usable straight out of camera in a situation where I want to shoot that way. But it's not something where if I didn't have it, I'd miss it, okay? On the other hand, now that it's in this camera, like, why isn't it in the OM1 Mark II, and why, not the creative dial itself, just those settings. It would be very easy to implement all of those settings as choices in the firmware. And I don't understand why, you know, it's restricted to this one dial. The dial itself is kind of in a goofy place, and I don't know, it kind of rubs against your hand a little bit. It's neither here nor there. I would say that's a neutral thing, the positioning. It's really high quality, but it is kind of in a weird place. Also, I added this aftermarket grip by, I forget who makes it. This is the U wood grip, YU wood grip for the OM3. And it's nice. It does a good job. It's not that heavy. It's hollowed out on the inside. Gives you an Archer Swiss rail, which is nice. So those are the things I think the OM3 should have come with right out of the gate. Maybe the OM3 Mark II, and also some of the things I think that the OM5 Mark II, OM1 Mark II should have, that the OM3 has that they don't. Also, another thing that the OM5 Mark II and the OM1 Mark II should implement is the some kind of a way to separate and isolate the stills and video and S&Q mode. That's brilliant. The user interface on this camera is excellent.
Close your eyes, hear the voice within.
So one of the things that this camera got really right that the OM1 Mark II and the OM5 Mark II don't have is that the custom settings, you have 10 of them really. You have 5 for your videos and 5 for your still photography, and you can name them. So that's really brilliant. They really have it sorted in this camera, and not so much in the OM1 Mark II and the OM5 Mark II. So that's something I'd like to see implemented moving forward in those cameras. What's really interesting is OM Systems has shown what they can do with this camera. And let's hope that they implement these things moving forward. I really love this camera paired with the small primes. This is the 17-1.8. The sharpness is impeccable. The handling is fantastic, particularly with that wood grip. And the build quality is solid. It's IPF 53 weather sealed, I believe. And yeah, it really is a fantastic camera. I really enjoy shooting with it. It's become one of my EDC cameras, and this in the OM5 Mark II, depending upon how weight sensitive I am. But paired with the 12, the 17, the 25, and the 45, just the perfect combination of prime lenses for me, and I really enjoy it. So the autofocus is absolutely fast. I have no issues. It focuses in lower light than the Fuji's. Well, we won't even talk about Fuji autofocus. It focuses in lower light than the Sonys do. As far as AF tracking and things like that are concerned, I don't know. I'm not the guy to ask. I don't shoot that kind of stuff, but I think it's the same as the OM1 Mark II, and people use that for birds in flight and all kinds of stuff. So I have a feeling the autofocus is going to be, in terms of tracking, it's going to be good for that kind of a thing. For everything that I use it for, it's phenomenal. So there is that. Low light is not an issue at all in any shape or form. DxO Photo Lab with Deep Prime, I've been running my images through that. Heck, I'm comfortable shooting this at like 51,000. So give me a break, it's not even an issue. And in terms of dynamic range, any situation where you are, where you've got a dynamic range exceeding what you can shoot, and that would be the same with a Sony camera or a Fuji camera or any other Nikon, Canon, any of them, you're gonna have to bracket anyway and mash them together in post. So again, what's the big deal? It's not an issue. And one last thing I'll say as far as selective focus, and this doesn't even really count for the OM3, this is for all micro four thirds cameras. As far as selective focus is concerned, with the 45mm lens at 10 feet, your depth of field is 9 inches. That means anything, you have a zone of focus at 10 feet of 9 inches, less than a foot. So anything beyond 10 feet is going to be out of focus, and anything closer to you than 10 feet is going to be out of focus. What more do you want? I mean, seriously, if you get any of these micro four thirds cameras and you can't get the shots you want, that's on you. You're not a good photographer. You don't know what you're doing. It's the bottom line. I do notice that the people that complain the most are the ones who have never used these cameras. Crazy. So whatever. I'm happy and I really enjoy the camera, and the OM3 is really a fantastic micro four thirds camera. It's the first camera that OM Systems has come out that hasn't been inherited from Olympus. So it's interesting, and the changes that they've made to the cameras that they did inherit from Olympus are really great on top of all that. So I'm really excited about the direction that OM Systems is headed in. Curious to see what the OM1 Mark III is going to bring to the table. If they incorporate some of the changes and some of the software that they've made in the OM3, it's really going to be a spectacular camera. So we shall see. But I'm really happy to have the OM3 as part of the stable. And what's interesting is for the price of like a Z8 and a lens, or a Sony A7R5 and a GM 24-70, you can have an OM3, an OM1 Mark II, and quite a few of their lenses. So go figure, fantastic. All right, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. That's the YouTube game. Check out my Patreon page. Content up there is a little different, and it's great because I get to do stuff there that I can't do here because it's not subscriber based, because the people that are up there want to be up there, and that's really cool. And it's a great community, and I really appreciate all my Patreon subscribers. So that's what I got for you today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you out there. Have a great one. Bye.
Close your eyes, hear the voice within calling. This heavy load got under your skin. All in, you got the white knuckles holding on it tight, keeping your feelings bottled up inside. Heading for collision in the night. To really live, you gotta die. Breathe in, breathe out. Hey, come alive. Breathe in, breathe out. Look at the